a Trump indictment has been top of mind for many of us for years. I mean, he's got at least 4 different criminal investigations looking into him and his conduct. But there's one man who plays a very significant and critical role with this case involving an alleged hush money payment to adult film star Stormy Daniels. And that's Michael Cohen, the former lawyer and fixer for Donald Trump, and says that former President Trump is, quote, petrified about the indictment and what it could mean. So joining us now is Lanny Davis, defense attorney for Michael Cohen. Lanny, it's a pleasure to have you join us this morning. First, I wanted to ask you for your reaction to the latest barrage of attacks that's coming from the GOP establishment, or MAGA world otherwise, about this alleged weaponization of and politicization of the prosecution and our judicial system.
So they make the hypocrisy issue regarding Donald Trump, which we've seen the congressional and national Republican Party over the years since the double standard, the ignoring of January 6th insurrection, all the lies. Now this is probably the ultimate hypocrisy, and that is to have Congressman Jordan, of all people, talking about weaponization of the Justice Department when he was silent when Trump's Justice Department, according to the U.S. attorney that he appointed, Jeffrey Berman, was intervening in Michael Cohen's case in order to erase the record of Donald Trump being accused by his own prosecutors of directing Michael Cohen to pay the hush money. So Congressman Jordan and the weaponization people forget that when Michael Cohen was released during COVID, he was ordered back to prison because he wouldn't agree not to write a book. And when the Justice Department prosecutors filed papers that were false, saying it had nothing to do with the book, a federal judge rejected what they said and released Michael. Now just think about it. Federal prosecutors accused Michael of not agreeing to the terms of his release, send him back to prison in COVID. And then Jeffrey Berman, the former U.S. attorney, says that's because the then Attorney General and the Justice Department at a senior level, reporting to Trump, let's add, directed Michael Cohen to be sent back to prison because he wouldn't agree not to write a book. And the federal judge accused and found, as a matter of fact, that the federal prosecutors had submitted false representations, and he ordered the release of Michael Cohen. If that isn't grounds for an investigation about false representations by federal prosecutors under the influence of Donald Trump, and that is an example, a factual example found by a federal judge of the weaponization of the Justice Department, I don't know what is.
You know, Lanny, the Trump defense counsel like Joe Tacopina, they've been making the rounds on media. I know you've been watching it carefully, trying to attack the credibility of Michael Cohen, your client. You know, I want to go back to this 2018 sentencing memorandum that the Department of Justice filed when it came to Michael being sentenced. And it was very clear, and this is coming from the Department of Justice itself, the prosecutors. It says that Michael Cohen, with respect to both payments, because remember, obviously, it wasn't just Stormy Daniels, right? There's Karen McDougal. That was also a part of what Trump likes to hide. That Michael acted in coordination with and at the direction of individual one, that being Donald Trump, and that the agreement to be able to silence these women, the principal purpose was, quote, to suppress stories so as to prevent the stories from influencing the election. I mean, Lanny, I know that we don't know what happened to the grand jury, and there's obviously a reason why they're confidential proceedings, but can you share with us, to the best that you can, why your client's credibility is not going to be at issue when it comes to the prosecution of Donald Trump, because Michael will be the star witness?
Well, let's start out with the fact that Joe Tacopina and every talking head on television, including a lot of talking heads on other cable stations, don't know anything about the evidence. Nothing. And they don't know that Michael Cohen fully cooperated over dozens of times under oath with 7 congressional committees, 500 hours, and not once has he ever been shown to have misrepresented the truth, including in front of 50 or 100 million people, in front of Elijah Cummings in the congressional hearings. And he did 2 grand jury testimonies without taking the Fifth Amendment, unlike Donald Trump. Now, Mr. Tacopina doesn't mention that. The other thing to mention is that this case is created around documents corroborating testimony emails, text messages. It's tremendously documented, and they don't have a clue. Tacopina knows nothing about the evidence that have been compiled. So by pounding away at Michael Cohen, even though he's established his credibility over and over again in public, they can do that. Maybe that's a good thing for me, because they're going to be so looking foolish once the evidence is known. And the only Republican I've heard acknowledging, let's wait for the evidence, guys. And I say that to talking heads who are former prosecutors. They don't have a clue. I do. I know all the facts. I know all the documents that are going to be part of the case. And are they going to be looking foolish once they finish trying to beat up on Michael Cohen, which is their local trade? They have nothing else to do, ignoring the facts about Michael's credibility. Once they see the corroborating evidence, the other testimony, witness testimony corroborating him, Katie, nobody looks forward more than I, once they actually find out what the case is about, that they're going to look very foolish in retrospect.